Well, hi, welcome, welcome. We are at the beginning of August, and this reading is for you, Leo. So happy birthday. Very exciting to be in Leo season. Really beautiful time to be navigating in this human experience. So I just want to look at some of the themes coming up for you, if this is your sun, moon, or rising sign, or any other part of your chart that you're looking into and developing skills around and trying to find those evolutionary shifts. And I've changed it up again just to keep us moving forward in intuition development, right? So that we're always developing our skills and honoring that we do have that capacity to keep moving through. So the whole reading's going to be with the Stalk Your Shadow Oracle deck. So a full shadow reading, but I think you guys can handle it. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you for all the beautiful comments. Thank you for commenting and asking and putting some really beautiful conversations in the comments too. Sometimes it really makes my day and helps me to think and understand things at such a beautiful level. And yeah, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And these readings are free and they're for you. So this is great. We're going to do a 4-card reading. If you do have the Oracle deck, please follow along at home and write down the cards that came through and the positions and try the spread out yourself. And then you've always got the little booklet in the deck to go a little bit deeper. Remember, there's action steps in there for every single animal totem so that we're bringing the information into the physical, which I always found was a missing component with a lot of metaphysical arts. It was really about, dancing up in the higher realms is great, but are we bringing it into our physical reality is a whole nother question. So for you, darling Leos, hope you had a good month last month. So our first card at the top is our anchor card. This is going to put us into the idea or the question of what training program are you going to be in this month. That really says, what are the overall themes, the collective themes, the overarching themes that we can work with. Something we work with at the Ankara Academy a lot is what guides are you working with and what training programs are they facilitating for you, so we can surrender into it, we can give consent for it, we can understand that all training can be delightful, engaging, challenging. It's meant to test us and invite us into greater states of awareness. So that's not always easy and comfortable, but it can be when we know what we're in, right? We just need to know what training program we're in. So you guys got the leopard for the anchor card. So this is really about, I guess, improving your personal values, coming from a higher intuitive space, maybe than you're currently running. Leopards aren't afraid to be unique when you work with them as a totem. They're not afraid to go it alone if nobody's really on par. So it's really like, let's upgrade our values. So if we haven't been authentic, if we haven't been honest, if we haven't been focusing on the things that we love, if we haven't been creating the world by setting an example and like living and breathing and walking our talk, then the leopard comes in to say, all right, let's really redefine those values. It doesn't matter if anyone else is resonating on that level. It doesn't matter if anyone's ready or coming with you or going to be your accountability buddy. Leopard really says, well, I'm willing to go it alone, but I want more of these values in my life. So it actually came through in one of the other readings. It might be higher integrity. It might be more honesty. It might be being more calm. It might be upgrading your knowledge base, being more knowledgeable about things that you talk about. It could be any value that you're seeking in other people is a great place to start. So most people tell me that they want the people around them to be trustworthy, take responsibility for their lives, which means solving their own problems, identifying where they're creating their own problems. Most people want people around them to be loving and communicate well. So these are the values that we bring into our own lives. And particularly when I'm working with clients to find an intimate partner, I make a list of what do you want in your partner. This becomes our homework list. These are the things I want you to cultivate over the next 12 months so that when you are ready for that frequency match, you've already done all the work. So it feels of high integrity to pull someone in and be in that mirrored place that says, well, I'm taking responsibility for my life. I've got good boundaries. I'm addressing my own leaks. I've got my own resources, and all I want is for us to just be awesome together, rather than there's all these things I'm not good at and you need to fill those gaps for me. That's a very dysfunctional, codependent place to come in from. Leopard really says, like, let's get to here and then we'll frequency match people there. So that's the training program for the month. Cute. A 3D card, a 4D pivot card, and a 5D card. All three-dimensional planes that you are currently living in and experiencing through. We have themes. We are not just like, let's get to 5D, let's dance in there and let's hang out with all the beings. It's really, well, let's get meaningful upgrades in each dimensional plane so that we can stay connected to all. So your lower three chakras are always going to be in 3D. You can't fully ascend them. You can't survive without the base chakra themes, without community, without money, without tribe, without feeling safe in your body, and all of those centers as they move on up. So the 3D card for you guys is duck, which is really cute because the duck provides for us a lesson around, you know, are you making love complicated? The idea is to have more people to love, right? And that doesn't mean that you have to do it in traditional ways. That just means if there's a gap in your life, the duck comes in and says, well, it's pretty easy to love people, right? We can love that person, and I love that person, and I love that person, and I love that duck, and I love that bird. It can be that easy. I think what's complicated is what we bring to the scenario and how complicated we can make it. And yes, communication and attachment styles and conversations, communication is very important. But the duck is saying, in your 3D sense, which means linked to your security, is possibly something that you haven't been leaning into, which is loving people is easy. And it might be time for you to go out and love some more people. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be reciprocal and fair and like all these things. It might just mean like, go round up a bunch of awesome people, bring them into your community, laugh with them, eat with them, delight in them, and go on home. And let it be that easy. We can get up in our heads, we can be in trauma responses, and all that is valid. But for you this month, Duck says, get out there and love people. And I know that you're good at that, Leo. You know, you're good around people. Oh, so in the 4D pivoting sense, which means we're heading up to the Heart Emperor. The Heart Emperor is where we can shift out of survival mechanisms into a heart space, which means in trust and in unconditional love space, governed by the heart, not by the head, not by the lower centers. Survival is good, which means we put systems in place, routines and structures so that our 3D lives are thriving. Then we can move into the heart space so the Heart Emperor can open us up to that joy. The whale represents, you know, big missions, really. So the heart can then talk to you about, you're born for big things. We need to be organized in those big things. Going out there and doing big things and having no support system, no structures, no money in the bank, no food on the table is not really going to work, right? Not in our society anyway. The whale says you were born to lead, to teach, to navigate big seas, right? To navigate big oceans. But there is a process in that. And it doesn't mean that you need to overburden people either. Whales hang out in pods. They're good together. They're very selective, which means as you come into that heart space, that pivoting point is when you get the people around you that are easy to love and love you easily, the whale will start talking to you about a bigger mission that might be the reason why that you're here, so that you can pivot into a 5D reality, holding those structures in place, right? Don't negate the structures because your vibration will come back down again. 5D card is the crane. So the crane really talks about elegance and leadership through inspiration. It's not about force. It's not about the traditional versions of success, which are generally based on masculine competitiveness. The crane is really when everything in your life when everything in your life is art and you do things uniquely in your way, and you don't really mind if that looks strange to other people or not the way that anybody else does it. The crane really shines as that medicine, that totem medicine that comes through. And that feels like a graceful, effortless space for me. So even though the mission is big and your heart can feel it, and you're like, oh, okay, we're going to migrate into better waters here. This is going to be a really good migration. It's going to take some time. I'm going to have to look after myself. But then the crane dances in that 5D space. So there's a part of you wanting that ease and grace, wanting that sense of surrender, wanting to swim around in that unconditional expansiveness that 5D offers us, wanting to develop the higher centers so that it's just easy to speak truth, easy to download knowledge, easy to connect with spirit. And there's a flair to it. There's a beautiful artisticness in it. And that's beautiful, really. There's a way that we can create art in our lives, and there's a way that we can stunt all of that. So it's a really beautiful reading for you guys, actually. So upgrading your values is the way that we're going to run the training program. Way we're going to do that is love a whole bunch of people that are really awesome and they're easy to connect with. Not the ones that are a hot mess and going through huge, big times. And I'm not saying don't support them. I'm saying leave them to their processes. This is about, well, you guys are awesome and you're easy and you're here and it's great and let's do this. And swim around in that connection and that ease of love, right? There's some people that are very easy to love. Even when you're going through density, you can find that frequency match with some people and it's just like, we're good for each other. This is great. The whale says, and then listen to your big mission, the one that's going to stir your heart space, the one that's going to invoke a deeper level of joy, make your heart sing, bring you purpose, and give you a sense of not even this is why I'm here, but there's a job to do. You know, the whales have a really big job to do, migrating so far every year for the sake of continuing on their species and singing all the way through the oceans as these huge, important, powerful beings. And I think without them in the water, a whole ecosystem would miss that really powerful presence. So that whale song really travels all the way through and has, such a profound impact on so many different creatures and the frequency of the earth too. So I believe there's something very magical in that whale song, keeping us tied to a very old and ancient and big frequency, energy, story, perhaps. And when we listen to that whale song, when we listen to a story that says you are here for big things, and we just need to anchor into that, which means, of course, I'm going to have those refined values. And of course, I'm going to have to go after them with the tenacity of a big cat and the focus of a big cat. So I can dance in this effortless, graceful idea of the crane. That says, I want that big mission to be somewhat effortless so I can just glide through and have this capacity of accepting it with ease. I think what gets us most stuck, and if we get stuck and we go back into egoic programs, we go back into the lower centers, the bottom three, right? The ego says, I'm not good enough to have a big mission. That's just silly. Like I shouldn't do that. That's going to be difficult for people. I should just, stay calm or whatever. But the whale is really like, can you listen to the story in the song of what is available to you in this incarnation? And the crane says, let's do it in the most beautiful way. Let's not let it be super hard and super dense and super stressful. let's do it with the belief system that it can be uniquely ours, that it can be in a way effortless, because when we do things from a 5D perspective, it has this smooth energy to it. It's got this, oh wow, you know, this would have been really hard for me 10 years ago because I would have been so stuck in fear and doubt and what people think of me and blah blah blah. But when we get up into those higher centers, we're like, well, this is just fun. Like having a spiritual purpose is fun. It's fun migrating so far and swimming with my loved ones and like collaborating and making art. Like, why not see it out? Why not pursue that? That's just beautiful. Let's just see what happens, you know, and have that sense of delight in it, if you will. I hope that resonates with you, Leo. Happy birthday. Comment below if you're resonating. Ask me a question. Let me know what your thoughts are. Ask a question about the totems if you like. Come and hang out in Patreon. We do this stuff all the time. I've got an online shamanic medicine beginners course starting in September. That's an online course. For those of you that have reached out, thank you for your emails. The main questions have been around, are we recording the sessions for that course? Yes, we are. We have a lot of international people coming through. I understand that time zones aren't amazing and they don't link up all the time. So we're going to do replays. We're going to be in touch with you. It's going to be amazing. Come and figure out what your birth totem is, what your power animals are, what your ancestral guide is, who your healing guide is, and maybe an extra in there too. So I'd love to see you there. So much love. Bye.